So I sometimes I've divulged that I sometimes have trouble falling asleep on Sunday night because I stay up extra late over the weekend. And when I have work to get ready for, that's a problem. So I started taking melatonin at Will's recommendation. Well, I gotta ask, does the melatonin ever give you like crazy dreams?
Crazy dreams? No. What did the mind of Tommy dream up?
Oh my, I think I predicted the future.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was a games journalist for some reason, and I was at something like an E3. Like I like picture an E3. I was at some kind of convention with a lot of, big video game reveals, probably an E3, and everybody is all hyped up about something called PTD. Everyone's whispering, talking about, PTD. We're gonna find out what PTD is today. One of those deals. People are donating money to PTD before they even know what it is, and I'm like so excited to learn what's PTD. What could it be? And so this Jeff Keighley type steps on stage, headset and everything, and it's the PTD presentation. And he comes up on stage and he's like, I've been developing PTD for years, and here at E3 I can unveil it. The first ever game where you can PTD, pay to die.
God, that sounds like my dream game. And how does PTD work?
I don't know. I just know I was like devastated in the dream when I learned it. Because I think like before I even knew what PTD was, I like donated money to it,
Ah, Tommy.
and then I like learned. I was like, oh no.
Well, there's already a PTDA game that's Pay to Die Alone, and it's called League of Legends.
Rev up those fryers and fill those champagne glasses to the tippy top. It's West Coast Toast and Roast with Tommy, Will, and Dav. Welcome back to West Coast Toast and Roast. I am currently playing Octopath Traveler 2, which is a path to die alone as well. I'm Tommy.
And I am currently playing Dragon Quest XI's for the second time, and I'm Will.
And I am currently playing Persona 3 for the second time and will hopefully actually beat it this time around, and I'm Dav.
So yeah, all dying alone. We have no need for Jeff Keighley's PTD project.
No.
January we were like, it feel like it's been forever since we recorded. Then for this one, I feel like we like just recorded yesterday almost, because February is the short month.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's actually weirdly going to be a long episode. We have a lot of news, so I guess we might as well dive right in. As always, Will, why don't you get the roast lit?
Unfortunately, I've got a toast. And last time, Dav said that his first toast was a spoiler for the end of the year, game of the year, and I believe I have mine as well now.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to toast the Dead Space remake. So I've always been interested in Dead Space, but have never played it, and I'm not sure why, because it's literally everything I look for. And so when I found out that they were coming out with a remake, I was like, hey, this is awesome. Maybe I can finally join it. There wasn't a single time when I wasn't having fun. It's cosmic horror mixed with body horror, mixed with sci-fi horror, and those are my like three top genres of horror. So I couldn't ask for anything more. They gave Isaac a voice in this, which I understand is controversial, but I think it's honestly really cool. Because the dude, I think his name is Gunnar Nelson. Apologies if you're listening and I got your name wrong. Just does like a great job as Isaac at creating this character that's like still a cool guy and he's very smart, but also he's like, what the fuck is going on? And And looking back at clips of like Dead Space, the original, without the dialogue, it's really not the same. So I mean, for my first dive into Dead Space, I was blown away. It was truly a game experience like no other. And I don't even like shooters usually, but this one was had the atmosphere and environment and like design customability that really made it worthwhile.
So to be clear, just the way you phrased it made it sound like his voice was new to this, but that I think it's like he got it in the second or third game and they retconned it into this one as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that voice. I've always liked his voice. When he showed up in PlayStation All-Stars for some reason, I kind of like that he was like... he had the delivery of the only guy who was genuinely confused at what the fuck was going on.
No, and that's pretty much him in the game, too.
Ellie, we're coming across Koopa Troopas. You're not gonna believe this.
No, Isaac, there's a scene in the remake when, like, someone dies, and she, like, calls out for Isaac to help, and Isaac, like, has a reaction, and then I looked at, like, in the original game, and she just, like, dies, and Isaac just kind of stands there and watches, so...
Live Isaac reaction. You get cool weapons in this?
Oh, yeah, like, there's like a Ghostbusters plasma beam.
Oh, cool.
And each weapon has two functions. There's like the shoot function and then an extra function. So like one of the weapons can plant mines that cost like I think 25 ammo, but they instantly kill an enemy, but you have to make sure they walk over it. Mm-hmm. And then another weapon is like I'm trying to like go through them in my head. Another weapon is like, you can put it on a surface and it like sends out lasers, but then the game plan has to be, okay, I have to get the necromorphs to walk towards me or it's gonna miss. And then there's also the really cool, this isn't about weapons, but it does kind of go into that. When you kill the monsters, they're called necromorphs, you have to shoot them in their limbs, not their head.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like that hasn't really been done in survival horror before. Usually it's like, oh, shoot the zombies in the head, that's their weak point. But now it's like you have to have a completely new game plan, and it's like, oh, you have to decapitate or not decapitate, you have to like,
Dismember.
Yeah, dismember them and leave them as like a, crawling potato. And then you can kill them.
Give them the Holy Grail treatment.
Exactly, yeah.
I guess, so would you compare this more to like, and maybe I have the totally wrong range of shooters, but like, the horror elements make me kind of think Resident Evil, and then like, the dismemberment kind of makes me think Doom. Am I like kind of in the right ballpark of either of those?
Yeah, I'd say it's more like Resident Evil than Doom because you do have like the limited ammo and you are trying to just survive. Like you're not like in Doom you are the monster.
Right.
But in this one you're very much a victim.
A little crying apustaya.
Yeah, a small crying apustaya. So I'd say it's more similar. I guess it's like Resident Evil if it had Doom weapons.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Doesn't he have like a bone saw or something?
A bone saw?
Or some kind of spinning blade of some kind?
Oh yeah, he has a blade that you can like shoot out and hold in front of you. Oh, so you can like just like wiggle around the blade in front of the enemies, and it's kind of funny.
I like that. I always like that. Well, yeah, no, it's in my rental GameFly queue, so I'll probably be playing it in the coming months. So I'll be sure to report back how I feel about it as well.
Yeah, please do. I will say it gets a little challenging with the boss fights because you have to beat them in like a very specific way. Mm-hmm. but once you figure it out, and it's pretty obvious, what to do. It's really rewarding. You just kind of have to be like, okay, I gotta be more focused on this run or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I see.
But
that's good. I'm glad to hear it runs well on the Steam Deck as well. So this does something that would be good to play portably. But I always heard that Dead Space was good, but I guess I never bothered to check it out because it just always struck me for some reason as like generic 7th gen third-person shooter. But I mean, if it's as good as you say it is, then I think I would definitely check it out.
I mean, it's like if anything, there's nothing quite like the environment, and the monsters are really creepy.
That's great.
Yeah. But that's pretty much my 2 cents on Dead Space, so I will go ahead and pass it over to Dev.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess we'll start with a toast. And that is going to go to Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered on the PlayStation 5. And to be clear, I have played the original version. I got it on the PS4 when it launched, and I loved it. Overall, just because like one of the earlier games that I played was Spider-Man 2 on the original Xbox, and I remember being blown away by that because the original Spider-Man game, the first Raimi Spider-Man game, you couldn't really do a whole lot. I mean, you could like swing around, but it was like generic swinging animation from the sky, and if you fell too far down, you would just die.
Dr. Connor's class.
Yeah. Spider-Man 2 changed the game because like you play the tutorial and suddenly you fall to the street level and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna die just like the first game, but then it just keeps going. And you're like, holy shit, I can go on the streets now and I can just swing anywhere I want. The swinging is so good.
I can swing wherever the fuck I want.
Yeah, exactly. You get that freedom. And a lot of Spider-Man games have come out since then. I think very few have been able to actually capture that feeling. Ultimate Spider-Man was pretty good. But Spider-Man PS4, I think, pretty much perfected that. And I really liked it. And finally got around to playing the remaster on the PS5, which I got with Miles Morales, which was also very good. And honestly, overall, it just feels great to have a 60 FPS version of that game, because that was kind of my biggest gripe with the original, was that 30 frames per second does not feel very good.
Is that the only difference for the remaster?
No, it is not. There is one other difference that I am going to roast the shit out of.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
But first, I want to talk about the good things, including the frame rate increase, but also graphically, it tends to look quite a bit better, especially since this is like a. I mean, it's pretty much made for PS5. It's not like a PS4 backwards compatibility thing. So it looks very good, and you can turn it to 4K 30 FPS if you like that. I think you're insane if you like that, but whatever. And overall, it's just very good. I'm going to start playing the DLC since I never got around to that in the original. But yeah, on to that other change that I don't like, and that is the fact that they changed Peter Parker's face.
To look like Tom Holland.
To look like Tom Holland.
Oh, I'm out. Oh.
And I don't think I would have so much a problem with it if, number one, he didn't look like he was 13 years old, despite being 23. And number two, this face emotes about half as much as the original face did. It is just in a constant state of smirk.
Oh.
Like the original PS4 face emoted very well. There was a lot of great acting that you could see shining through. This one does not do that. He constantly has either a slight smirk or a slight frown. And it looks like complete shit. And the fact that Peter Parker has this face in Miles Morales as well is 100% confirmation that this is the face they are sticking with from here on out.
Is it still Yuri Lowenthal's voice?
Yeah, it's still Yuri Lowenthal's
No,
voice.
they used an AI Tom Holland.
Fucking Nightmare Blunt rotation is eternally smirking, deep voice Tom Holland. And like it'd be like a cute unlockable to toggle on and off, but by the sound of it, it's just like a U2 album. They just kind of sniped it in, and you're stuck with it, right?
Yep.
What the fuck?
It sucks. Unfortunately, it's not like the MCU movies where he's taking his mask off every chance he has. So you don't have to deal with it too much. And it's usually overshadowed in annoyance by anytime you have to play as MJ. So
I've heard those are rough.
Oh my god.
That
is one thing.
Isn't there like a boss?
Like, it's the same.
You have to fight with, like, isn't it Rhino? You have to like fight with her or something.
No. Well, it's you play as Miles and you're like trying to escape from Rhino.
Right.
That one's not too bad. I think that's honestly probably like the best stealth mission because it actually feels like there's a reason that you're doing the stealth mission.
Mm-hmm.
Every other time, it's like you'll be swinging around as Spider-Man having the time of your life, and then you'll get a call from MJ, and she'll be like whispering, and you'd be like, "Fuck, I know where this is going."
I don't know. Peter.
Hey, Peter, I'm just checking something out. And you're like, "Fuck," and then it says 15 minutes earlier, and then it's just like,
Peter, the horse is here.
Stealth mission, avoid the horse.
Yeah, but that's not exclusive to this version, so I won't harp on it too much. Everything that
I'll say when I first played the Spider-Man PS4, I was shocked about how little I went into the story at first because I was just doing side quests.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much anytime I had side quests to do, I would just 100% those, and it ended up with me platting the game, so that was pretty nice.
Side quest where you propose to your ex that's not interested in you anymore.
What?
Well, remember it was like someone programmed in a movie theater marquee that said like, "Nora, will you marry me?" And it turned out like
they broke up before.
Right, it was like a bunch of baggage, and he was like a huge creep.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that got patched out. That was like in the original.
Fucking the Kirk Van Houten board meeting that had to have been. That's it. Goodbye and good luck.
Yeah,
I don't recall saying good luck.
Man. Yeah, no, I've always thought this looked like a cool game. I don't know why I haven't gotten around to it. It kinda... I don't know if this is... It almost feels like the Breath of the Wild of PlayStation in that it was released near the end of a previous console's life, and it was really perhaps more so meant for the next one, and now it kind of doesn't go away as, like, the one thing they keep putting out over and over again.
Nintendo, hire this man.
How would you say the characterization, and I guess this is more about the game in general than the remaster in particular, but I've heard mixed things about the characterization of this particular Spider-Man cast. Would you say it holds up pretty well?
I think so. A lot of people would probably have issue with the fact that Spider-Man is very, very pro-cop.
Right.
And it's like, I would understand if it was like our world, but in the Spider-Man world where like every other day the city's being turned into an apocalyptic wasteland by a bunch of criminals, I kind of get it, you know?
Yeah.
Also, Mary Jane's characterization is... I feel like they weren't doing her a lot of favors. they kind of went out of their way to make her like very annoying.
Like in
what
sense?
Like, outside of just the stealth thing, her relationship with Peter is really strange, and it makes it out sort of very obviously to be something that is like her issue and not his.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he like tries to talk about mending their relationship, she just gets very standoffish. And then it just kind of resolves itself for no reason. But I mean, outside of that, it's pretty. I mean, I really like the Miles Morales in this.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite Miles.
Yeah, he's really great. And the villains are also pretty awesome.
Speaking of Miles, maybe not in his story, but
you don't like the Miles Morales story version of him?
Well, no, because you said the villains are really good, and I think the villains in the Miles Morales expansion were kind of horrible.
Yeah, that's true. But there's one like moment that I think goes pretty unappreciated, which is like, obviously you have Spider-Man kind of quipping at the villains. You don't have a whole lot of the villains quipping back, but there is an instance of this when he's fighting Electro, which I thought was pretty funny. He says like "Yo, Adrian," and he's fighting Vulture and Electro, and Vulture like straight up does not get the joke. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Electro starts like charging up, and he's just like, "Hey, Spidey, I must break you."
Is Vulture old in this?
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense that it kind of just goes over his head.
He's played by the same voice actor who has played Vulture in every single video game.
Is it Dwight Schultz?
I don't remember his name, but I just know that I recognized his voice from the Spider-Man 1 game.
I know in Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, it's Dwight Schultz, and that's also Mung Dahl, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
There you go.
It's Mung Dahl. He's like the perfect Vulture voice,
that's
honestly.
Amazing.
But yeah, I'd say even if you've played the original Spider-Man PS4, check it out. If you haven't, definitely check it out because it's a great game.
Yeah, it's easily the creme de la creme of superhero video games.
Yeah, I wanted to play it to get prepped for Spider-Man 2 coming out this fall, which I'm very excited
yeah,
for.
with Tony Todd Venom.
Tony Todd Venom. I keep forgetting that's coming. They really blew their load revealing they're also doing a Wolverine game, because that's a little more on my mind. But
that one is definitely farther off, because I know that they wanted to do Spider-Man 2 first. I would say probably at least 2 years on Wolverine, unfortunately. But
PS7 launch title.
it has to be M for mature.
No.
If it's T for teen, it's gonna fucking suck.
Ow! You really spooked me.
X-Men Origins Wolverine did so well as a video game because it was rated M. It was gory as fuck.
I want to be running around as Wolverine, and I just like have an arm on my claws for the moment.
Yeah.
All right. You mind if I take the wheel?
Yep. Go
all
for
right.
it.
Guys, I watched a movie called The Pistol Shrimps. This is what?
Is it about like pistol shrimps?
To a very small extent, but it's the name of a rec center basketball team.
Okay, I've lost interest.
All right, fair enough. So, and this is a toast, but I think I'm toasting more the meta journey it took me on than like the actual documentary. As a documentary, it's okay, but it is a documentary about a rec center basketball team based in Hollywood, California, where the team happens to consist largely of people in the entertainment industry. So it's where Aubrey Plaza and other comedians and musicians go just to play basketball and shoot the shit on the weekends. Like Aubrey Plaza, like just for the range of fame, Aubrey Plaza's like the most famous person on the team. Everyone else I like has been in stuff, but I wasn't like intimately familiar with. But it's all entertainment people. And and you know, it's an okay documentary on its own. There's some very cute moments. One of the players on the team goes by the nickname Hanma Boogie. Based do you guys recognize that gibberish?
Yeah, is that what fucking Jabba says in episode 4?
Episode 6.
So when they play basketball, she struts out in knee socks with Jabba's face on them, and her handle is Hanma Boogie.
That's pretty base.
Yeah. But like, what I found really interesting about this movie, though, is that it almost felt like how it starts off is that it almost feels like a bunch of actors and comedians who start playing rec center basketball as kind of a bit. Like, if you know much about Aubrey Plaza, you would figure that she might rather die than like genuinely play rec center basketball. And it feels a little like it's become just a thing to mention on talk show appearances. And like, I'm not trying to shade her or anything, but it gets a little like, okay, when it's like you see clips of her coming on to like Jimmy Fallon or Conan and talking about how, oh yeah, I play on the Pistol Shrimps on the weekend. And it feels more that way when she tells stories of like they're playing the game, and someone on the opposing team is like, "Oh my gosh, Aubrey Plaza, can I have a picture with you?" And she says, "Yeah, if you give me the ball." like she like, you get the idea, and like part of it's probably just her personality, like she just has that sense of humor a lot. But you start to get the impression like, "Oh, we're going to it's funny that we all like have a hobby of doing stand up and not terribly rigorous exercise, and we're going to play rec center basketball and kind of take up this space." And like, there's one comedian I liked because it's like a slice of like their everyday life and them playing for the Pistol Shrimps. And there's one woman who just like edits herself into episodes of The Bachelor when she's not playing basketball for the Pistol Shrimps, like as a bit. And you know, I follow a lot of podcasts, and I've read a lot of, memoir about people who are in that big kind of UCB California comedy crowd, and how everything has this layer of irony. Like, a podcast starts about the Pistol Shrimps where like one of the players' husbands and his buddy, who are also comedians, start to like muscle in on it. And it's like, the narrative of the documentary never acknowledges it, but I found it so interesting just how like overwhelming the comedic personality of, I've got to turn this into a content and I've got to turn this into a bit, starts to just take over something as, honestly innocent as rec center basketball. Then what kind of turns it around, and this is, I don't think it's not a spoiler, dumbass, because Aubrey talks about this in interviews and it's part of the narrative, that while playing, she like tore her ACL. She like hits the court really hard on a fall and suffers an injury. And her agent is like, "Listen, you can't be risking your health with all this basketball stuff. You can't keep doing it." And it becomes like a very genuine narrative where she's like, "Oh, but I genuinely really enjoy being on the Pistol Shrimps. Like, I want to do it." And I thought that was just really interesting how like that's kind of what it took for that veneer to shake off, was her having to kind of choose between them. And it kind of just begs the question of like, okay, you're Aubrey Plaza, you're probably pretty rich. Do you need to be on the Pistol Shrimps, like, and be disrupting this space? But at the same time, sympathetically, it's like, okay, but everyone deserves a hobby. Can't she play on the Pistol Shrimps unbothered, despite being a relatively pretty big famous actress? And it doesn't give you an answer to any of that, but I appreciate that it took me on that journey, if that makes sense.
No, that doesn't make sense at all.
Ah, damn it. Okay, let me say.
I didn't understand a single word you
Let
just
me
said.
let me put it into something you'll understand. Yeah. This guy gets it.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to see comedians being a little bit goofy on a basketball court and maybe it tugs at your heartstrings a bit, the Pistol Shrimps. It's a good name for a basketball team and a documentary. And
And a JoJo stand.
Oh yeah.
There's one called Pistol Shrimps?
No, but there should be.
That would be cool, yeah.
I mean, pistol shrimps are really cool animals.
They are, like, a top tier. It is one of those things where it's like God's edgy son just kind of took over the tablet for that one. What evolutionary measure was befitted by making a shrimp into, like, Goku? I don't know. Well, I'll let you take it. I know you'd love to toast Pistol Shrimps the animal, but we do have to move on.
Oh yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna toast pistol shrimps the animal because they're really cool. No, it's very infuriating because I came into this podcast and I had topics and I can't remember what they are now. Oh, I remember what it is. Okay. That was easy. I'm going to toast, and I'm not done with the show yet, Netflix's Dark. Have either of you heard of this?
Not really.
Heard of it.
Yeah. So, Dark is a German show on Netflix about time travel. However, it's one of those shows where, like, time is fixed and nothing can be changed. Mm-hmm. And you'd think that would make the stakes really low. But, and it's one of those things where I can't say a lot about it without spoiling the whole thing. But it still, like, keeps the stakes high. Because the whole time you're wondering, okay, maybe if they do this, they'll be able to change time. And then you go back and you're like, oh, damn it, that's just where this came from. I'm a sucker for time travel shows where it's like, they introduce something, and then you figure out, like, maybe 10 episodes later how that thing happened. Like, the show starts off with, there's the main character, Jonas, and his dad commits suicide. And he leaves a note that says, don't open until, I think, November 10th at 10:34 p.m. And the whole time, it's like, okay, why did he do that? And then eventually, we think we understand why he did it, but then at the end of season 2, it's revealed why he actually did it, and it's fucking insane.
I see.
I guess a more non-spoilery thing is there's this dude in the show who's like a kidnapper. And he was never caught, so he kind of lives a normal life. And he's got like a fucked up left side of the face. And so one of the characters of the boys who was kidnapped accidentally goes back in time and meets him as a kid. And you see him like hit him to the ground and then like take up a rock. And it's like, oh shit. He's the one who disfigured him.
I see.
And it's just cool stuff like that. I know it sounds like a little, it's something that kind of has to be seen. But it is about, the beach that makes you old. This is about the cave that makes you time travel.
Nice.
It sounds very Steins Gate based on your description so far. I think I'd probably be into it.
Yeah, it's Steins Gate, except, like, in Steins Gate, stuff can change, like, even minor things. In Dark, a lot of it is... And, again, I haven't finished, so I don't know if they eventually do change things, but it's a lot of, like, things falling into place, and people are like, oh shit, because I went time traveling, I caused this to happen, which is the reason for our problems.
So it's like a guy will have like an adventure in mind and like accidentally invent the DMV.
I guess, like, I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, like, oh, that's a big spoiler, so I don't want to say that.
It's not a spoiler, dumbass.
Yeah, it's not a spoiler, dumbass. God, I'm trying to think of one that's, like, not a huge spoiler.
Is there a way you could, like, substitute adjacent terms in a way that wouldn't spoil it?
Sure, so a character dies, and that character's son goes back in time to... Or actually, wait, okay, so there's this lady, and she goes to the future, and she sees a newspaper article that says her dad dies on June 25th. Mm-hmm. So she goes back to her time and she's like, Dad, you have to move in with me. It's June 25th. And the dad's like, no, something's going on. And so she's like struggling with her dad. And then eventually she like accidentally pushes him and he hits his head on a counter and dies. So it's her fault because she was trying to prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like really cool stuff like that. I've never watched like a German show before, but the actors do like it's so well stylized and the actors do such a good job. It makes me want to look into like more of the genre.
You mean okay, yeah, like just one of those. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a bit. Like in the sense of the specific German aesthetic, Netflix seems to be like collecting the foreign TV shows like they're Infinity Stones.
Yeah, exactly.
Does this have like I've just like never heard of this. Does this have like a following over in Germany or?
I don't know. I only clicked on it because it looked like the poster looked cool. Mm-hmm. And I learned that the people who did 1899, which sadly got canceled, also did Dark.
I was gonna ask, like, this was giving me vaguely similar vibes. I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah. And it's really cool. One of the actors in Dark is in 1899 and speaks, like, perfect English. But then also, like, speaks German as well, so it's like so the first time you see him talk, it's like, oh, it's the guy from Dark, and wow, I didn't know he could, like, speak English with a perfect American accent, and then he goes into the German accent, and it's like, Jesus Christ, this dude's talented.
Is there a time travel plot where they make donuts fall from the sky?
Tommy, you don't get a turn. The dead birds fall from the sky.
Oh, wonderful. Just as tasty.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Dav, I think, it is, like, vaguely, I'd say it's most like Steins Gate in the technology aspect. But I think you should definitely give it a try if you like Steins Gate, because it is just, like, a really good time travel show.
Yeah, I mean, the trying to prevent a death and then being the cause of it is like a major plot point in Steins Gate.
Oh, well, spoilers.
Spoilers for what is it, like 14 years old story?
One that we've all watched.
Yeah.
Even though Dav's never recommended it to us.
No, never.
No, but Dav didn't want us to watch it, but so he went back in time and then inadvertently caused us to watch it.
Yeah, he went back and it was like the Monkey's Paw where he got us to watch Steins Gate, but somehow that caused all of the incest vibes with the big guy with the hat. He's like, no!
The what?
With Daru. That sucks.
Jesus Christ, Daru, I forgot about him. That ruined my night. Anyways, back to you, Dav.
Okay. We're gonna maybe have a little bit of a versus match here. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Listen, you say that like I liked it. I was surprised how little I hated it, more so than I truly liked it, for heaven's sake.
We're all technically on opposite sides of the dividing line between good and bad. I straight up I gave it a 4. I said it was bad. I think both of you gave it a 6, so you both said it was basically fine. Like, not awful, not great. So, yeah, I'm roasting Quantumania. What a piece of shit movie.
Dav, don't be a dick.
It's never too late to stop being a dick.
Ew, I bet, look at me. I'm such a dick.
Listen, okay, let me cut in. I think Quantumania is honestly better than Multiverse of Madness.
I
agree with that.
I disagree.
Because, I don't know. Maybe it was just, Multiverse of Madness has shit that kind of... maybe it's part of it. I just can't with Stephen Strange. I kind of can't stand him. I don't like his stupid face. And I think when he tries the Marvel humor, it just does not sell. The way I don't like the way anyone does it, but Paul Rudd at least like that seems to be more of a default for him. You know what I mean?
Wait a sec,
Yeah.
Tommy. The Illuma-whatty?
And listen. MODOK in Quantumania was honestly more of a credible threat than the Illuminati.
Oh yeah. No, I think we're kind of hijacking Dav's topic, but yeah, just like to give my 2 cents. I don't feel strongly about it. I didn't hate it. Like people were saying like this is the worst Marvel movie, and it's not even close in my opinion.
For me, it isn't the worst, but it is close. And the reason I like Multiverse more, I mean, I do like Paul Rudd more than Benedict Cumberbatch, don't get me wrong. But I feel like Multiverse of Madness had more, like, sequences that I felt were decently well done, at least, and that were pretty memorable. And Quantumania, I feel like, had literally nothing like that. There's like the one that we quoted earlier, the I'm such a dick scene that is only memorable because of how fucking awful it is. And I don't really care about MODOK. I mean, we all knew how they were going to treat MODOK when he inevitably ended up in the MCU, and it's literally exactly what we predicted. I just like it feels like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the behind the scenes footage of Ian McKellen on The Hobbit.
I don't think I have.
No.
He's just like there's a behind the scenes clip of him like sitting in a chair in like where the Hobbit hole is supposed to be, right? And he's just like holding his head and like having a little panic attack as the entire wall behind him is just a green screen. And a lot of like the furniture is covered in green screen, and he's just like, I can't fucking deal with this shit. It's just everything is green screen. That's what this movie feels like to me. It feels like I understand Ian McKellen in that moment. Because, oh my god, it doesn't feel like there's a single shot of this movie that is real.
No.
It's just, like, Multiverse of Madness had a lot of that, but it also had a few shots that were just like, okay, well, I guess they're just, like, in a city. And it wasn't, like, distractingly bad. This movie is just all artificial. It is all people playing pretend in front of green screens.
Hey, you know what? I agree. MODOK should have been a practical effect.
You know what? Yeah, they actually should have done that to him.
Dismember Corey Stoll like he's a fucking necromorph.
And you know what else? I think it should have been Jonathan Banks as MODOK.
Jesus Christ.
And Tommy, now you have to put MODOK in the thumbnail.
Alright. Man, like MODOK is a villain I actually quite like in the comics, and I think like the notion of an MCU MODOK was just so catastrophic in my mind that despite this one having I don't like his outcome. Like we talk about how he ends up is stupid. And whenever they try to deflect humor on him, it's stupid. The CGI looks awful. But he has, like, moments as a credible threat. He calls himself the ultimate weapon and fucking floors a ship. I was actually kind of happy with that, I have to admit.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, a shame all the other parts about him.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's perfect. I guess I'm just... I'm a little surprised I didn't like actively detest it the way I did so many things about so many other movies, Marvel movies.
I have been actively disliking a lot of MCU movies. I've been like lenient with them, giving most of them like 6s because like, it's a movie. It's competent for the most part, the ones that they've been putting out, but there's just like no soul to them. A lot of people liked Wakanda Forever. I really didn't care for that one either. It felt like it was way too long for one. But
Yeah, they really emphasize the forever part.
yeah. This movie was, I'll give it the fact that it was shorter than most MCU movies have been lately. So that's nice. A few core issues I have with it are that it's kind of a comedy, like most Ant-Mans have been. But it's not funny, I don't think even a single time. They bring in Bill Murray and kind of waste him.
It
There for like
Sorry.
5 minutes.
It kind of sucks that they want to do all this character comedy with characters that barely feel like they've been established.
Like Cassie.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel so bad for. I love that actress, Catherine Newton plays Cassie. She's in Freaky, which is a favorite of mine, and I feel like she gets such a raw deal because she's tasked with playing a character who's always been a toddler or a plot device, and everyone treats her like she's always been there, and she has to act like she's always been here when she kind of hasn't, and she has nothing to endow, but like you were saying, fucking green screen, and she comes off as really bad in this.
Yeah, she's on her third actress now, that
Yeah.
character. And I'm sure she's a good actor when she is around like actual real environments, but it cannot be easy to act well in this just this it's literally just a soundstage with like a circular blue
Yeah.
screen. And
Hey,
that's the entire movie.
Sometimes voice actors don't even get visuals; they just get a script, and we got to do it.
That's true, but I'm talking like physical acting in a physical environment that does not exist.
That is true. Like, it's hard to be like, look at this thing I'm looking at and touching, and it's like,
They'll add it in post.
I'll give Hope one thing. She's probably my second favorite anti-vaxxer in the MCU.
Yay.
this time she's an anti-vaxxer.
Speaking of ants, a lot of ants.
The dumbest shit in this movie was when it was like trying to have science. Like, what the fuck was up with the ants evolved over 1,000 years in a minute?
No, this movie, what was nice about the first two Ant-Man movies, and I didn't really like the second one, but what was nice about the first two is that they kind of made use of the whole changing your size thing, having like the scale matter in the world. This is just an excuse to go to another alien dimension, because size is completely inconsequential to this. They effectively get transported to an alternate dimension that is populated by a massive population of sentient beings, some of them straight up humans. Basically the same as like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie where they just go to another planet. And it's excusable there because I can totally believe that there are aliens in this universe. I cannot fathom how fully autonomous sentient bipedal creatures came to be on a less than microscopic scale and have effectively created giant cities and civilizations. And they kind of just brush that off like it doesn't matter. Like, I think one of them asks, like, there are people down here? And they're just like, yep, and that's all you get.
And they waste another like 5 really good actors on the most inconsequential roles you could imagine. Like guy from, I think, is it the guy from The Good Place, the mind reader? Yeah. It's like, oh, this is your Marvel paycheck, but
I was like, oh, Cheaty, no. What did they do to you? People have also been praising Jonathan Majors, and to be fair, I think he's the best part. I also don't think he's doing a great job either. Like, to be frank, I don't think anybody in this movie is doing a very good job, and I think even if he's doing the best, it's still not fantastic.
Kang in the comics is such a cool villain, and I honestly think they're going about him in a kind of haphazard way. Like, David, you're the least familiar with Kang, which I feel like when you summarize the Kang as we know him in the MCU, time traveler's like maybe third or fourth on the list, next to like alternate dimension guy and microscopic guy. Like, I feel like he hasn't done much with like actual time travel really. I know they're already jumping to like his alternates, which I feel like kind of opens your Christmas present before, because that's something you learn he's been doing way late in the game, and I think they really jumped the gun on revealing that.
Yeah, and it gives me kind of a Thanos and Endgame problem where it's like, which one am I supposed to care about? Because if it's not this one that they showed, and it's not any of the other super dorky weird ones they showed in the post-credit scene, then like, who do I give it? Is the one from Loki? Like, which one is he? How does he fit into this? Also, why didn't he give a shit when Thanos wiped out half the universe, but he cares when one of the ones that they exiled was killed? They suddenly want to rise up and do something because now they're pissed off for some reason. There's so much that doesn't make sense, and he just does not fit into the universe. And I think that the headline of Phase 4 and Phase 5 MCU has been completely fucking up the universe they've established. So it has made it very difficult to care about anything. Even when they're finally like building up the villain, I just don't give a shit.
That's a shame too, because like genuinely, Kang and I've been catching up on Kang's comic appearances, and like you just do straightforward time travel shit with him. There's a story where he goes back in time and kills all of the Avengers as babies in their crib, and it's fucking choice. They would never fucking. It has to be 15 layers of like jumping through hoops bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I don't get about Kang is they're trying to go for like he's an irredeemable monster, but also like he has a soul. Like, I'm not quite sure which way they're going.
I almost would argue that it's Jonathan Majors like pure charisma as like a sympathetic actor, that nothing is written actually sympathetically about him, but Jonathan Majors is just so easy to side with that it comes off that way.
Anyway, fuck this stupid fucking movie. Can't believe this shit. This is like, God, the MCU like used to have. I'm not gonna say all the movies were great, even in Phase 1, Phase 2, or whatever, but like, come on. There used to be good movies.
What do we got? Oh man. Okay. What's the temperature on Guardians 3, guys? Because every time I see that preview, I'm like, I have no fucking idea what's going on.
As always, I like the music they use.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the best Phase 5 movie, and it's going to be a solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah. It's James Gunn being like, just get me out of here.
I want to go to DC. Fuck this shit.
The idea of Peter, it looks like they want to ship Peter and Nebula, and that, like, gives me heartburn. I don't want that.
I feel like that was mostly just a throwaway joke. I don't think they're going to go that route, but if they do...
Knock on wood, Dev.
But there's, like, a shot later where they're, like, helping each other up, and Peter helps up Nebula, but I guess I could just be connecting dots too closely. I don't know. After that, though, Dav, your favorite's going to come back. It's the Marvels.
Uh-huh. No, that's going to be a fun day on Twitter when that comes out.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, I think when people are like, who would you cast as Abby in The Last of Us on HBO? And all the responses are always like, someone without social media.
Yeah. The Marvels is going to bring out the most annoying people on both sides, and I'm not ready for this.
I was like, guys, don't be so mean to Brie Larson. Then she'll post something like insane with her NFT Twitter AVI, and I'm like, you're not making this easy.
Like, yo, incels just don't like that I girl boss with my NFTs.
It's not even usually that. She usually just like she posts something that's like, "There's why did you ask your friend to take this picture of you?" It's like that. This isn't her, but it's like that Miranda Cosgrove Instagram picture where she's like falling asleep in the middle of the day.
It's called a nap, Miranda. You ain't special.
It's like, Brie Larson, were you alone when you went into your private sauna in your fucking mansion, or who took this picture? Golly.
Okay, enough about this. Pass it off to you, Tommy.
All right. Well, I've got a reluctant roast as well.
That
So
wasn't
this one's more
reluctant.
disappointing. Huh?
I said that wasn't reluctant.
Right. Well, I guess this one's more reluctant is the sad thing. I had that bummer moment when you try a game you've been wanting to for a while, and you've been exposed to the character of that game and crossovers for years, and it's very just like anticlimactic when it's not even like, oh, this is secretly bad, but it's like, oh, this just isn't for me. So, sorry, years of build up. It turns out I don't really like Dead Rising. So this is Frank West. Everyone knows him. He covers wars. On paper, this is like one of my top 10 favorite concepts for a video game ever. Is you are locked in a mall using whatever you can to fight zombies. And when you're just rolling with that concept, I think this game rules. It's the core gameplay is pretty fun. Because in real IRL, when I do rarely go outside, going to the mall and just walking around is one of my favorite things to do. So the idea of being able to run around and grab whatever you can out of Dick's Sporting Goods or Urban Outfitters and figure out the wacky ways you can kill zombies, fucking choice. I love it. I love it. There's always a great humor in how counterintuitive, like, shit you don't expect to be very helpful is the strongest weapon. Like, I think in the short time I spent with Dead Rising, the most I killed zombies was with a hockey stick, because you send out a puck that just, like, trips zombies in crowds and just fucking upends them onto the floor. Whereas, like, I don't know, an actual chainsaw has, like, a ton of wind-up, and it's really difficult. I like a lot about this game. The more I figure it out, though, it turns out I'm not the only one with this sentiment that this element we don't love, but I'm the only one where it kind of broke my enjoyment, is that this is a sandbox survival game with very, very stringent time limits. Bearing in mind that Frank is a reporter, he'll get tips and scoops constantly that he has to pursue. Your phone will ring and it'll say, go check this out in the food court district. Go see what's going on in the toy district of the mall. And first of all, Frank moves very slow. And when you're also constantly trying to survive zombies and find health items and pick up weapons and craft weapons, beg your pardon, but if you take more than a few moments to attend to these scoops, they expire. And if too many of them expire, you are locked out for, like, the rest of the game. And I know that sounds really... I just know that I made it to a crucial story point that required an incredibly long pilgrimage and a lot of effort, and, like, your mission log just totally blacks out. Which basically confirmed I would not get the complete ending, and that, like, completely ball-busted my enjoyment of the game. Because when you hear someone describe something as a sandbox, you think you can kind of take your time, but, like, I don't really understand. I genuinely think it's ass backwards to have something as broad as a shopping mall, with every store having an identity and items to explore, and make the enemies as sturdy and multiple as these zombies, and give you a time limit to get from point A to point B. And, like, that can cost you, that should cost you. Like, maybe you lose a significant character. I don't think it should hardlock you out of progress from hour one onward. I asked this earlier and regretted it, but am I making sense with that?
No, you are. It doesn't seem like the best way to approach a sandbox game.
No. And like that could be a mode, like unlock time attack mode, but I did not. I had a lot of fun killing zombies, and it felt like I was like, well, I just had the time of my life killing zombie. It's like, okay, we were just talking earlier about Spider-Man. It is fun to maneuver in Spider-Man, it is fun to do side missions, it is fun to explore New York. Imagine if spending too much time doing sides in Spider-Man resulted in you meeting up with Mary Jane, who tells you all of the Sinister Six are permanently out of jail and you're fucked. And you can still play the game, but you're not going to get the good ending. Because you spent too much time delivering pizzas. Fuck you.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
I mean, First Dead Rising is a pretty old game, isn't it? That's like 2007, right?
Let me see. It is pretty old. Like and I guess it's that rough thing where everyone says it's the best one. So that's what I jumped to. And it's like, oh, you all played this when it first came out, so maybe...
I thought...
Yeah, 2006.
I heard 2 was the best one.
Interesting. I just hear 4 is like the one that you should not touch.
No, I know they completely butcher his character in that one.
3 looks real. I hear 3 is like okay, but a lot of people who like talk about it are like, the enemies are less subtle, but they look like No More Heroes bosses, and I'm like, oh, I love it. I kind of love that. So take that as you will. So that's kind of a bummer. I hope someone will make a shopping mall survival game that isn't weirdly aged or held by really stringent time constraints soon. Because like I said, that's like, on paper, it's like, oh, that's one of my favorite things a game could ever be. One of these days.
No, I mean, it's a series from what I've heard that has so many ups and downs, it's never interested me, and also I specifically remember growing up, like in middle school, when I was really big on, like, Xbox Live with, like, my school friends. Oh, yeah. But also, like, just going on Xbox Live parties with my school friends and stuff, and, they would always, like, invite somebody in who was just like, hey, you guys want to play Dead Rising? It's, like, the best zombie game ever. It's always just the most annoying human being you've ever met in your life, so it just totally put me off from it.
Well, of course I know him. He's me. No. Well, see, it's interesting, Dav, because, like, it comments on capitalism, because it's in a shopping mall, and they are zombies.
Yeah, you remember that Machinima series, Bite Me? I feel like it's like that, but as a video game. Just total annoying schlock.
Well, and Will, you've sealed your fate, because Modoff is not going to be in the thumbnail anymore.
Oh, god damn it.
Because you know what it is?
What?
Annoying Orange is Modoff.
Oh, Jesus.
I gotta see if I can figure that out.
That's Udok.
Udok. Hey, Ant-Man.
God. You ever,
Okay,
like...
for the love of God, Will. Start your next thing before I lose my fucking mind.
Oh, I was gonna talk more about Annoying Orange, so, No, I guess... Okay, this is a really controversial one. Dav probably knows what I'm about to say. I'm giving a roast to Half-Life 2.
Oh.
Oh, boy. Let's hear it.
Here's the thing. I've seen, like, a lot of video game lists that say Half-Life 2 is the greatest video game ever made. And I'm sure it was for the time, but with such an astronomical bar to reach, it just didn't even come close. Like, Dav told me that a lot of the game is the way it is because they were, like, testing out the new engine. And I can see that, like, people like it for, you know, being kind of the first of its thing. But from a modern standpoint, and especially, like, playing that right after Dead Space, it just hasn't aged well at all. First things first, the story is good. I think, like, the storytelling itself is really cool. The problem is, the gameplay is just, like, it ranges from, oh wow, this is so fun, to, can we just get this shit over with? There are so many fucking vehicle levels, and it makes me mad. There's, like, I was talking with Dav once, there is a hour-long portion of the game where you just like drive around on a speedboat and get off the speedboat and then open a door, and then you can go through the door with the speedboat, and then you get off the speedboat and then you open another door and you go through the door with the speedboat. And after that was done, I was like, okay, finally, let's get to like the cool stuff. And then a character says like, yeah, take this car. And it's like, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And then, so you have to take the car and you have to drive to a place, and then you have to get out of the car and you have to go and kill a few guys and open a door, and then you drive the car through the door, and then there's another locked door, and so you got to get out of the car, and you got to, like, take a crane and lift the car up, and then you got to drive it, and then you open the door, and it's like, oh my god, what is with these fucking vehicles?
And Squidward answers the door, and he's beating up Squidward.
Yeah, that happens.
Anyways,
I think boomer shooters are not for you, Will.
I don't think... Okay, well, is Doom a boomer shooter?
The original?
Like, the reboot.
I wouldn't. I don't think so, no.
Okay, yeah, then I think boomer shooters just aren't for me, because, like, number one, I'm not very good at shooters, and, but, like, you know, I think Dead Space is a perfect game, so I think it can be done. It's just, like, and I feel bad for saying this, because it is, like, a pretty revolutionary game, I'm not denying that. But, like, when you look at it from a modern standpoint, a lot of games have aged well, and, like, I still enjoy playing today. But this, like, I could see myself enjoying it when it came out, but nowadays there's just, like, there's nothing about it that interests me.
I think video games just age in a way that other art forms don't, in a fashion that can just really disserve them. Like, I was watching a video just earlier today about how people fucking love Super Mario 64 and how, like, it rocked their fucking world. But I just was not there for that moment, and every time I try that game, I'm like, I've never been less impressed.
No, I mean, I grew up on Super Mario 64, and I still love it and forgive it for a lot of things, but even I'll admit that after you hit, like, the second floor of the castle, it just nosedives.
Yeah, so this is the Super Mario 64 of boomer shooters.
I think... To be fair, I haven't played all of Half-Life 2 yet. From what I have played, I've really enjoyed it. It's definitely not for everybody, that style of game where it's just like, here's an environment, here's what you need to end up doing, figure it out.
Yeah, but Dev, you told me you got up to the point where you got the gravity gun, so you got up to just before all the vehicle shit.
I still did, like, the boat mission.
Oh, you did the boat mission, okay.
And I understand why you wouldn't enjoy that gameplay loop of, like, getting a vehicle from one, like, point A to point B. I don't know why, but I like it. It's just kind of fun.
Which is funny because you hate cars.
I do hate cars, but I'll make an exception if Gordon Freeman is behind the wheel.
Gordon Freeman, I will say he's probably one of the funniest characters because he is completely mute. He doesn't even make pain noises. And people just, like, since he is mute, people just tell him who he is. Like, a character will just be like, oh, Gordon Freeman, you're the guy who did this. And it's like, yeah, he probably knows that, because he did it.
Are they called boomer shooters because, like, they're old? Or because, like, things go boom?
Because they're old. Mostly.
Like a boomer is. I see.
They're, like, mostly, like, PC games from the 90s. And then anything kind of following that style, like Quake sort of thing.
Serious Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not a whole lot of things go boom in Half-Life, but in fact, the bombs fucking suck, honestly.
They do.
But,
oh, well.
I really like the story, too.
Yeah, I
think
think
very interesting lore.
The story and the lore is definitely, like, a huge highlight. Like, even if the gameplay was somehow worse, I think I would still be like, this is a pretty cool story.
Yeah, and at the time, it came out in like 2004, and like those graphics in 2004 were just fucking mind blowing for people.
Yeah.
Oh, gee. For
It's
some reason, I did not internalize it as being 2004. That's weird to me.
This was like 2 or 3 years after the first Halo game.
Oh, Jesus. That's bizarre to think about.
It was crazy. But that's just kind of like, it was just kind of flexing the power of the PC and the new engine. And it definitely stands out for that. So
I think it's definitely a revolutionary game, and I think like coming out in that market where there's not much like it, I can see why people like it so much. But I would be curious to see how like a few people maybe think about how it stands compared to like modern games and modern storytelling.
yeah, once I'm finished with Black Mesa, I'll definitely do a Half-Life 2 playthrough, like, fully through the end, and then, I mean, I'll see if I still feel the same way, but, I mean, with how much I'm enjoying Black Mesa, and that being, like, basically a reskin of a much older game, that's, I have a feeling I'm going to like it a lot.
Dav's gonna go to the beach that makes you dislike Half-Life 2 and come back just to prove it.
Oh.
Anyways, that is my regretful, sorrowful roast of Half-Life 2. So, Dab, it's your turn.
Okay. It's gonna be like I'll roast through the end, I think.
Perhaps.
Okay. I recently watched a couple of Sanrio things. Last night I binged Gudetama finally.
Yeah.
I am not roasting Gudetama. I thought it was pretty good.
I like Gudetama.
It was kind of fucked up at some points, but
That ending was like for 80% of dog. Oh.
Yeah, we got interrupting Tommy and we got interrupting Dog.
yeah.
Well, Gudetama, for like 7 of the 8 episodes, I was like, oh, it's kind of Marcel the Shell with Shoes on vibes. This little guy is on a little adventure. Then the last episode, I'm like, what the fuck?
That was pretty good. I'm here to roast the other Sanrio property I saw, and to be fair, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But it was the final season of Aggretsuko. And I want to make it very clear that the reason mostly that I'm actually coming out to roast this is that it is in fact the final season of Aggretsuko. The last couple of seasons were pretty much on the same level, I think, in terms of quality and writing. And I just kind of, I didn't really mention them at any point. I didn't really harp on them too much because it's like, okay, this is an ongoing series and it's just kind of the middle point. It's whatever. But the fact that they chose to wrap up with this, unfortunately, I do have to roast it. Because it should not have been anything like this when they knew it was going to be the final season.
That is heartbreaking. Because those first 2 seasons of Aggretsuko are terrific, in my opinion. I loved that show. And was it season 3 where she becomes like a pop star?
Yeah.
That's like the moment where I was like, nah, Chief. Like, the whole idea is that's supposed to be very relatable, but people don't generally know what it's like to become a pop star,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she kind of just it really jumps the shark and tries to hold on to that for the rest of the series. It's like every season gets more and more just weird. I mean, the last season was about Haida committing, I think, some sort of just major white collar crime and getting fired for it. Like embezzlement or something.
Haida goes to jail for tax fraud sounds like something a bot on Twitter would generate during season 1 of Aggretsuko, and everyone would treat like a shitpost.
Yeah. Haida is a very unfortunate character because he went from like season 1 and season 2. I would look at him and be like, he's just like me for real, and I really like that character. And then every season after that, just being the worst fucking person ever.
Ugh.
He's such a... It's so pathetic. I mean, like... I'm not gonna spoil too much from the current season, but I'll go free game on, like, the last few seasons. He goes from confessing to Aggretsuko, getting rejected by her, and, not taking no for an answer, until they finally end up in a relationship after he gets fired for embezzling funds for some reason.
Sounds fun.
I think it was the third season where he was like seeing that the dog girl.
Yeah.
And she was basically like the perfect girlfriend for him, and he just could not get his mind off of Retsuko. So he like it's so fucking terrible. He just kept going. He completely disregarded his other girlfriend's feelings. And then he did the whole embezzlement thing, and then this season he did some fucking abominable shit too. And he was pretty much the main character of this part when it really should. I mean, it's the final season of Aggretsuko, let me remind you. Retsuko should probably be the main character. But I feel like somebody on the writers' team was like imprinting on Haida for some reason. Maybe they like saw themselves in him.
Oh, like that one dude on the Powerpuff Girls reboot.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's very incel-y kind of.
Genuinely sounds like the episode of Always Sunny where Charlie is dating Alexandra Daddario, and she's like head over heels with him, but he can't get over the waitress.
Yeah, it's pretty much that, but stretched out over 3 seasons.
Oh, the other bummer about season 3 I remember is that like the side characters in that game were such like in that show were like even though he's like a douchebag, I just love the comedy and the stress that Ton adds.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember him being in season 3, unfortunately.
Yeah, he kind of wasn't as present in the last few seasons, which is a shame because he's a great character, and they had a lot of good side characters that are like really I mean, even like Fenico in this season was like hardly there except for like a gamer joke once.
That's heartbreaking.
And they introduce like an entirely new character who is like this gamer girl who is completely depressed and just lives in an internet cafe. They touch on her for a few episodes, and then she just disappears until the very last episode where they like clumsily complete her character arc. And the ending, like the actual ending, is just fucking insulting.
After we like go offline, I'm curious to hear about some of these things.
And just think about how like season 1 of Aggretsuko, everyone was talking about it because it was just so fucking good.
Yeah.
In that conversation, like I feel like maybe the voice actors get kind of excited, and power to them because they play those characters. But it's like the well is just fucking dry in comparison. It's a bummer, honestly.
Yeah, it is because they really did just completely go away from the kind of hooking concept of that. It's like, oh, it's a cute little animal Sanrio character, but she's just like a normal person who is like an office worker and like lets out her emotions through like karaoke. And that's totally gone.
Do we see the donkey ever again?
The rich guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very strange.
Interesting.
He's similar to Haida with how much he like simps for Retsuko, but like doesn't actively pursue it. But it's still really weird how much he like obviously still like has feelings for her.
He's like, I bought Twitter for you. Respond.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge downer. Ah, man, like I'm honestly nostalgic for the days when we're all like, look at the angry panda. It's literally me. Just falling the fuck apart. All right, mind if I take that last cue?
Yep.
All right, let's shake off some of those grouchies. I want to talk about a film. So, a film I got to rewatch because I'm helping my after-school drama club at the school where I teach. And we're doing a production of Clue. So I rewatched the movie Clue, and that movie holds up like a motherfucker. That movie's great. I want to talk about it. What I really like about what I really like about Clue is that it's of course an adaptation of a board game, which probably when this was made in like the early 80s, that probably sounded fucking demented. And it doesn't have like modern adaptation syndrome, you know what I mean? Like there's not a ton of like winking. Like it's all the characters and they have their props from the game and they replicate the setting. But there's never a gag of like, I bought this car from the Parker brothers, wink, you know, like none of that. That would absolutely be in a modern movie. It's one of the most immaculate comedic casts ever put together. Relevant to you guys, Mr. Green is Michael McKean, who's pretty
Chuck McGill.
Chuck McGill. You think it wasn't Colonel Mustard? He defecated through a sunroof. He's terrific in it. Christopher Lloyd is Professor Plum.
Oh, fuck yeah.
He's wonderful. Madeline Kahn is Miss White. We lost her entirely too soon. She can just sell anything and make it really, really funny. The moment everyone quotes of her is in reference to the woman that was sleeping with her husband she killed. She describes how much she hates her. And everyone quotes when she goes, "It felt like flames on the side of my face." But like, what's really funny about that to me is that she kind of goes, "I hated her so much." Like the way you talk about a coworker you're annoyed with. And it's someone she just murdered. And I can spoil that because this movie has multiple endings. The serious show stealer is Leslie Ann Warren, who is Miss Scarlet. She is a fucking smoke show, first of all. Second of all, just fucking hilarious. She's this actress with lots of experience in musical and in, like, very camp art forms. So whenever a cop bursts into the scene and she has to act natural, she perfectly frames herself within a window and poses like a pinup girl. And it's the funniest goddamn thing I've ever seen. And she's the only person in the room with no secrets, because she's like, I sell out sex workers in Washington, D.C., and I don't care if I get arrested for it, because that's my business. And she's excellent. And it's, you know, I rattled off a bunch. It's like, arguably the most famous of that bunch is Christopher Lloyd. Like, it's not A-lister. And Tim Curry is in there. It's not A-listers. And part of me is like, oh, I wish I had more Madeline Kahn and Leslie Ann Warren content, but a lot of them have either passed away or, you know, just don't get as much work as they used to for one reason or another. But watching Clue, I just feel their characters are so well realized, and the mechanic of the multiple endings lets them kind of do multiple facets of their characters, that I'm kind of like, I'm happy with it. Like, I'll absolutely seek out the rest of their career, but it's like, oh, this is all the Leslie Ann Warren I'll ever need, because she plays a murderer in this ending, which most streaming versions package together, because the deal was when you went to go see Clue, it would be one of 3 endings, just to keep you on your toes. And I appreciate that now when you rent Clue or watch it on Prime, it's going to be the version with all 3 transitioning between each other. It's an exceptionally well-detailed movie. It's one of those where I worry, like, you know, the Tumblr theater kids will quote it a lot, but it is but like, And it's like, oh yes, we all quote, the double negative is turned to proof positive, but the delivery and writing is genuinely very good. I think it holds up very well. It is a tiny indie movie that could. I wonder if it did well in its time. I could see this like being a flop that eventually just was embraced later. Let's see.
Like the Iron Giant.
Yeah. Yeah, it flopped. It did not make back its budget in the box office. And I can see why, because it's a little, but I think it's a brilliant movie. I think like if this was made today, it would offshoot into like, and now we also want to make a Hungry Hippos movie because people
the
love
board game cinematic universe.
Yeah, exactly. When people just like they weren't tapping into like they weren't trying to slam the G spot of the same fucking appeal over and over again. They just had a neat idea and ran with it, and I appreciated that. We ready for news? We got a lot to cover.
Let's do it.
All right. So James Gunn unveiled his slate as the new head of DC. Will, did you have any? We didn't get to discuss this a ton. Did you have any big standouts there?
I really like that for Green Lanterns they're going with both Hal and John because I'm a Hal guy, and obviously the first time Hal appeared it wasn't very good. So and everyone was like kind of talking about how they wanted John, which, I can understand why with the, Justice League cartoon, but I'm just relieved that we are going to get Hal.
Absolutely. We're getting pretty much every Lantern, I imagine, because we're getting a Lanterns TV show.
Yeah.
It's all of them. I'm really happy we're getting a Booster Gold show, but I have a creeping nervousness it might be Pratt as Booster Gold.
Oh, yeah.
I could see it, because he loves to double dip his casting, that James Gunn. Let's see, Creature Command. I like that they're kind of dancing back and forth between animation and live action as well. Like, Creature Commandos will be canon, but it'll be fully animated, and I think that's very cool. We're getting a Waller show. A lot of stuff where it's like, well, I'll have to see before I really judge. James Gunn writing Superman is going to be an odd pair. Do you agree with me?
I do, yeah.
I wonder how that's going to go.
Yeah. And Jesus Christ, poor Henry Cavill. Like, that sucks. It also sucks that they're, like, not that it sucks that they're bringing back Viola Davis, but, like, how come they can bring her back but not Cavill?
Yeah, I think it blows. And I like Gunn, but it sucks that he's kind of like, everyone is out except for my wife and everyone I'm friends with.
Basically, yeah.
Honestly.
Well, Cavill's gonna go make the Warhammer universe we always dreamed of.
And oh man. I think a Themyscira show that they describe as similar to Game of Thrones, which I wish people would stop using things to describe other things and just let it breathe.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's probably most of it, and we have other DC stuff to cover connected to the Super Bowl.
Wait, Batman the Brave and the Bold sounds terrible.
Because you don't like Damian.
I fucking hate Damian.
I don't like Damian either. I'm a little bit with... I think I'm a little happy that they don't seem to want to do Origins anymore. Like, I've seen Martha Wayne's pearls hit the pavement 10 dozen times. I think jumping right to Damian is a weird idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm not fond of Damian. Wonder Woman. And I guess we'll see how it goes. It'll be weird, like, with Shazam and Blue Beetle and... No, I guess Shazam's gonna come out, mean nothing in the long run. Flash will reboot everything, and then Blue Beetle is gonna start the new DCU, which it's weird we haven't seen anything of that movie yet.
Yeah.
I like Blue Beetle. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, also, I am not going to see Flash.
No, me neither.
Don't give it your money.
Yeah, people at home,
No.
do not give this movie your money.
Please. I guess, and Flash is later in the slate. I guess we might as well talk about it now. First of all, I hate that No Way Home is a genre now. Like, I don't need. And my coworker who's like in her 50s will watch the Super Bowl and was like, I saw they're making a Flash movie, but I don't really get why Batman is in it. And it's like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like if. I think Little Karibo tweeted, it's like if No Way Home was about Spider-Man meeting all of the Hulks. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and plus, the Flash TV show did Multiverse Flash better than the live action could ever do.
Yeah. With a better actor who's not fucking terrible.
Yeah. No, and everyone like when I didn't see the trailer before I saw this, but people were like, this looks like the greatest it's going to be one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. And then I watched the trailer and I'm like, this doesn't look good.
Oh. Oh man. It's I have biases because it's the two heroes in the shadows of their CW counterparts, Flash and Supergirl. No one's gonna replace Grant or Melissa for me. Those shows are silly as fuck, but that casting was like spot on. I'm sure Sasha, whoever the new Supergirl is gonna do great in her own right. Not my Supergirl, no.
Yeah, I mean, after Grant, who, like, even at the worst of the Flash, is still so much fun to watch, Ezra just looks like, on top of him being a horrible person, like, this version of Barry Allen just looks annoying.
Yeah, I've never... the only time I've ever liked Ezra Flash was in the Snyder Cut, and I don't know... I guess that's not technically canon, question mark. I don't know, man.
The problem I have is that Ezra Miller looks exactly like Joji Miller. Like, it's literally a carbon copy. So Ezra's like the evil twin.
Yeah. We'll have to lock Ezra in an attic and feed them fish heads, like in The Simpsons. Yeah, please don't see this. Put your money towards anything else. Hogwarts Legacy for all I care. Asterisk sarcasm. Don't actually. You know what I mean. I guess as long as we're on Super Bowl ads, got a really good new Mario trailer where they used the old theme song and wonderful. I loved that. That put a smile
So you're
on
saying
my
you
face.
like the music?
Yeah.
I like the music.
I like it better than the orchestral bullshit that they had before. The rumor is that the Brooklyn girl in the Mario Brothers ad was Peach's voice from the old cartoon, but it doesn't seem like anybody has a source for that.
Oh, that would have been fun.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
pretty sure it's been confirmed. I thought it would have been confirmed already.
It seems like a harmless enough thing that I'm willing to just believe it.
Sounds like
that.
it, at least.
Yeah, true. I love I think regularly about the gif of evil Mario Brothers where it's them doing the repair reversed and they're flooding her apartment.
Yeah.
Man, that ad was so fucking cute. I think I like ads like those 10 times more than what is this place? Dude,
Yeah.
dude. Because it shows like it's an homage. It's brilliant because like I hate the nostalgia wanking usually, but it's used to develop that the Mario Brothers are like endearingly out of touch with their audience with their lame ass rap and fake attitude and green. I love it. It's wonderful, and they use the old art style. Chef's kiss. Had to explode about that, and we also got an Indiana Jones trailer.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't really have a lot of faith after Crystal Skull.
I watched that for the first time, like colored by the context of the new one, and yeah, I see it. I was like, wasn't there a whole new Shia LaBeouf guy that they are writing out of this one? I'm like, oh, I see how you can do that now. He's gonna die on his way back to his home planet. And it bears repeating. I tell you guys this all the time, and I'm sure people have said it, but Indy's now older than Sean Connery in Indy 3. So
Yep.
It is
crazy.
Yeah, from the it just looks like a geriatric old man, like somehow surviving this insane shit.
Golly. Well, and Crystal Skull came out when we were like, oh, there's never gonna be another Indy. It's a nightmare that this is bad. And here we are, and there's gonna be AI technology to like carry it on forward. So I don't think anyone's gonna care if this is bad. Tekken 8 had a big old gameplay presentation and also revealed Nina and Kazuya.
I think both of them look amazing.
They look cool.
This is my favorite Nina design.
Mine too, man. She's needed to really fall into her own mold for a while. I thought the wedding dress in 7 only kind of works because it's weird because it only works alongside Anna's bereavement garb. And then this, she's just totally doing her own thing, and I'm really happy they seem to just want to make her, she's always been satellite to Kazuya or Anna, and she seems to just be her own thing in this, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah.
Especially after the fucking shitty Netflix anime had her lose her first fight to fucking Xiaoyu. I needed to watch that taste. I needed to watch that taste out of my mouth. I'm happy for her. Good for her. She's carrying a Glock into the King of Iron Fist tournament. And Kazuya, like, Tekken 6 and 7, I feel we're just iterating on 5, which is a perfect game. And now that Kazuya trailer made me think, oh, this is its own thing. Because the cinematics around his devil form are stunning. I can't wait to see this game even further developed. I can't believe we're more than a year out and it already looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, see, I was always a Street Fighter guy, but Tekken 8 changed that.
Yeah.
Did Street Fighter 6 also change that?
It did, because I don't like it.
I'm sorry. I really hope maybe it'll change when I actually get my hands on it. I hope you're ready to play that with me and at least hear me gush about it a little, because I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm obviously I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Cammy.
Oh boy, Cammy. Hey, listen. Let's not get ahead, because people on the Reddit were like, I think Cammy's more popular than Chun-Li now. Sit the fuck down.
No, she's not.
If Cammy is... People are like, Cammy is the new Miss Street Fighter. Then Chun-Li is Miss Fighting Games.
Yeah, Chun-Li's never gonna be dethroned. I really love this this Cammy design, but come on.
Yeah.
It's never gonna be like peak Chun-Li.
Zangief and Cammy both went to the pants store, and they look pretty cool. Cammy a little, like, Zangief looks like he has, like, more realistic wrestling moves, or he's, like, stomping your shins. But I like, his face looks really funny, because Capcom used to love doing a hyper-cartoony Zangief, and they kind of stopped for a while, and now they are again. And Cammy, it is a good design for Cammy, even if it's no Chun-Li, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And we also got the last brand new character, for the time being, ostensibly, Lilly, who I think it's a shame, like, I don't really get the strategy of revealing the entire roster in groups of 3 and finishing 100 days out from release. I think if Lilly was revealed on her own in a solo trailer, she would slap. Because I think she has some really cool moves and a very cute personality. I love her little camera. But she kind of got overshadowed here. I think she deserves some due. She has some cool weapons and some cool stuff about her. What else we got here? Nintendo Direct happened. I wasn't crazy about this one, but a lot of people were.
Well, that just happened.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was terrible, but it wasn't great either.
I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. I kind of can't remember what's in it.
Pikmin 4 gameplay?
We got a release date too. I was pretty happy about that, but not much else.
Metroid Prime. Yeah, that was shadow dropped.
I'll rent that. I felt like people were like losing their minds about that, and that's another just like I guess I had to be there kind of things. I'll try it sometime.
I didn't really care because I already have a version of Metroid Prime that has twin stick controls.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, Advanced Wars is finally coming out.
Oh yeah, finally.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be all. That'll be. I feel like that's going to be another Will game for the year that we're going to fight against in December. That'll be fun. What else happened? Game Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Game Boy games.
Game Boy Advance. Really fucking pathetic how long it took, considering how you can. I mean, anybody with a shitty Android phone can emulate those.
No kidding. Yeah.
But guys, Samba de Amigo's back.
Yeah.
But
Sorry. You go ahead. Sorry.
no, what were you saying?
Is this the first reveal of the release date for Tears of the Kingdom?
No.
We've known it, but this is like the final trailer, I think.
I don't think it's gonna be like the final. I'm sure they're gonna have like a Zelda Direct in the like months leading up.
But I guess the
but
big
man, they
reveal
are like, yeah, they are really reluctant to like show much of anything about this game. It is, God, it's a drought. I mean, they're showing some gameplay, but Jesus Christ, every trailer that they release of it is just like, there isn't a lot there.
I'm gonna piss off some people. I have the weirdest creeping feeling this is gonna be like a cyberpunk situation. Where they just where they just made the biggest game ever, and they're like, well, make the sequel. And they're like, what?
I think Nintendo has too much quality control to make something actually like Cyberpunk. But I have a feeling this one isn't going to be as big as Breath of the Wild was.
Which, yeah, no one's looking forward to the release date more than me, so that Nintendo Directs can just be about something else again.
Yeah, it really sucks how, like, for the last, I think even the Direct before this was like, here's our final announcement, and it's just a Tears of the Kingdom trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nothing new, okay, that's
I'm like
great.
jonesing for my Donkey Kong. Those rumors have to be leading to something. Oh, man.
Splatoon 3 DLC.
Oh yeah. Kinda cute, I guess.
Yeah, I mean... If
you can see a different clerk when you go shopping.
Yeah, that first DLC pack looks kind of useless. The second one could be interesting, but we don't really know anything about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if it's a new campaign, I'll give it a try. But I haven't played. When I put down Splatoon 3, I think I just tapped out. I'll play DLC of another game that I probably shouldn't, but we'll get to that.
We did get a few like announcements that were like really, really big with certain groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
Those being Bat and Kaitos remasters, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective remaster.
Oh yeah,
and a new Professor Layton.
I'll try Ghost Trick. People are nuts for that one. I'll give it a try.
Yeah. Oh, and a sequel to Fantasy Life. That's also been pretty big.
What is the temperature for you guys on Master Detective Archive, something or other, not Danganronpa?
I'm gonna wait till I hear reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right now it's sitting at a room temperature.
Man, I played the demo of that World's End Club thing. That was rough. But this one seems a little more in the Danganronpa flavor than that one was. So I hope it turns out better. I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, I like that it's like Danganronpa art style, but without like the Vita's constraints.
Mm-hmm. The Shinigami, when she transforms, I don't hate her.
Oh.
All right.
Birdo.
See, that's probably everything.
Birdos in Mario Kart 8.
Oh yeah. Why are they waiting this long to put in a character? Mario Kart DLC techniques are fucking insane to me.
Yeah, they just were now getting Birdo.
When they were like, we're adding tracks to this almost decade-old game, I was like, that's insane. What are you talking about? And now it's like, and we're also randomly throwing in one character who always should have been there. I'm like, what are you fucking smoking?
Well, I mean, it means Diddy Kong's probably gonna be in there at some point.
I hope so. And Pauline still has to get in too, right?
Yeah, it is technically a Mario Sports title, isn't it?
Yeah. She still has to be there. It's crazy
God,
she
I think
wasn't there. No, I guess yeah. When that game came out, she wasn't really revived by Odyssey yet. So I guess it
no, that was quite a few years before actually.
right. Well, and we've been looking at Mario Kart 8 for so fucking long that I forget it was like a Wii U launch title.
Oh yeah.
Told me that game has been out for 10 years.
And we're just like, and you just now can have Birdo.
I think Mario Kart 8 has the most lifeless roster of all the Mario Kart games.
And I don't think the tracks are very good either.
The new ones I think are pretty good. Like the DLC ones have been pretty great overall.
I do like the idea of when it's just like a real place, because that sounds kind of lame on the tin. And there's just real, like, a very real novelty, just like having Bowser Jr. driving around like Seattle or something.
Yeah.
All right. I guess all that leak, because nothing really else in the state of play. There's the Street Fighter characters and some other shit no one really cared about. Unless you guys recall anything.
Oh, if you like PSVR 2.
And then just this morning, the Pokemon Presents happened. The most unhinged idea I've ever heard is Pokemon Sleep. Pay to fuck your Pokemon.
Ugh.
Why? Who was like, and then the Pikachu crawls into bed with him. What?
Yeah, and that was announced so long ago.
It was 3 years ago, and now it's like, here it is. Sleep.
Hey, here it is. Just forget how long it took to make this.
Mr. Mime lifts the sheet and just crawls on in after a long day at work.
Well, maybe it was something they were saving for when they didn't have a lot to announce, because there really wasn't much else in the Pokemon Presents.
I'm excited for the stop motion show they're making, because I love stop motion, and I love slice of life Pokemon, where you can just take in how these creatures like operate in the world. I think that's some of my favorite stuff. And I'll play the Scarlet and Violet DLC against my better judgment.
Why the fuck haven't they announced Detective Pikachu 2 yet?
That's a good question.
yeah.
Maybe Ryan Reynolds is gonna see Mario in the post credits for the Mario movie.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about the game.
Oh yeah, huh?
The first Detective Pikachu game evidently left off on a cliffhanger.
And then they made a wildly successful movie and decided not to follow up on it.
And they made the movie with a self-contained story that actually ends.
Mm.
And they still have not made a sequel to Detective Pikachu 1, the game.
They're waiting till they can add Birdo in 10 years.
I guess that's true.
Oh, that's about all I had written down. Do you guys have anything else for the wall?
Do we want to address the Corridor Digital thing?
What Corridor Digital thing?
The rock, paper, scissors, the anime thing?
The what?
So, Will, you might remember Corridor Digital as they're that YouTube group of VFX artists that made the rated R Spider-Man thing.
Oh yeah.
Semi recently.
Sorry. Will
semi
so chipper.
Okay, so these guys are pretty out of touch overall, I'd say. They are VFX artists who are aging, and their age is showing. Because I think at some point last year they endorsed NFTs, and that was like they kind of backpedaled on that after they got some backlash. This year, actually, yesterday, they made something called Anime Rock Paper Scissors. And what essentially they did was rotoscoped animation using AI.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's like, I couldn't make it through the first minute and a half of this video because it is, even if this wasn't AI, it's some of the most appallingly horrible, just trash I've ever seen. it's an insult. Like, they're getting very positive reception on YouTube. They are getting absolutely smoked on Twitter by artists. Samuel Dietz from the Castlevania Netflix animation pointed out that they trained their models on Vampire Hunter D. And it's very clear that they did because the art style is pretty much one-to-one, except, it sucks because it's AI.
Right.
So they basically just acted it out, overlaid the AI animation, and they had the audacity to post another video that said, "Did we just revolutionize animation?"
Oh Jesus.
Oh boy.
And I might watch this video with you guys just so you can see how fucking terrible it is.
Off mic.
But
Yeah, we'll pull it up.
it's also like fundamentally it's anime in the same sense that somebody who like was on the production team that made Kappa Mikey thinks what anime is. Because it doesn't look like anime at all. It's total fucking trash, and Corridor is getting a lot of shit for it, rightfully so. And I really hope they just get fucking demolished by this, because this is just fucking horrible.
I'm not looking forward to how I'm sure, like, I'm as anti-AI as the next person at the moment. I am not looking forward to, like, as soon as next month when we're like, well, these are our overlord. It's like, I guess we gotta live with it. I don't know. And, like, just, like, AI's always been around, but honestly, like, there's whiplash to how quickly they just, like, snapped into the zeitgeist, like, to a terrifying extent.
It's because there wasn't a whole lot of funding from the major companies going into it outside of just like basically the back end data. So it was never really touching like art or this sort of front end more creative stuff until like Dolly and stuff started coming around, and then they saw the popularity for it, so fucking Microsoft dumped an absolute insane amount of money into ChatGPT. And now everybody has AI that is training on the most massive data sets imaginable, and so it's accelerating at an insane rate.
Oh my
So
god. Hear that, everybody? You could have paid an actual artist to draw you the way you'd look on a fucking Lord of the Rings cover. Now here we are. You happy? Ugh. Man. And about the audio we've recorded just now is enough to incriminate us, basically, is another thing.
yeah, pretty much.
Golly.
At least the Joe Rogan videos are funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got old.
Would you
To
rather
the
work
beach that makes you old.
Would you rather work graveyard shift at the Waffle House or drink your own piss?
I'm gonna drink my own piss.
Well, I'm gonna drink my own piss. I'm Tommy on that depressing note.
I'm not gonna do that, and I'm Will.
My job's gonna be replaced by ChatGPT very soon. I'm Dav.
Oh, Will, why are you so defensive? Like, I could just say, if I get embarrassed that I say I'm gonna drink my own piss, I'll just say it was AI.
Very true, yeah.
Oh, well, good night, everybody.